Are you considering buying a vintage home, but aren't sure what to watch out for on your home walkthroughs and inspection reports? Then stick around, because in this video, I'm going to talk about 3 things that are commonly found in vintage home inspection reports that sound scary, but that you don't need to lose any sleep over. If we don't know each other yet, my name is Abby Willaert. I'm a real estate agent who specializes in buying and selling vintage homes in St. Paul, Minnesota. The first thing to know about old home inspection reports is that they are going to be long. Often when I'm working with buyers, and especially first-time home buyers, they see a long inspection report and they panic. They automatically think it means there are a ton of issues with the house, and often that's just not the case. Think about it. A vintage home may be 50 or even 100 years old. The number of items that aren't going to meet current standards is understandably long. But just because something doesn't meet current building codes, it doesn't automatically make it unsafe. It's important to have a discussion with your home inspector about which items are legitimate safety concerns and which can just be seen as kind of the quirks that come with being in an older home. Next, I want to talk about hazardous materials like lead paint and asbestos. Here's the thing. Lead paint was not outlawed in the United States until the late 1970s. Which means if you're buying a house that was built before that time, there's a good chance there's lead paint inside, even if it's not noted on a seller disclosure. Similarly, asbestos was frequently used in ceiling tiles, floor tiles, and siding in the 20th century. So if you see old 9x9 inch ceiling or floor tiles in your home, assume there's asbestos in them until proven otherwise. The good news is that unless you have a house that's in rough shape, like with chipped paint or floor tiles that are crumbling, this doesn't need to be a deal breaker. These materials generally don't cause problems unless they are disturbed or in disrepair. However, you'll want to know about their presence if you do home renovations, and you always want to make sure that you hire contractors who follow lead and asbestos safe work practices when they work. The last thing I want to talk about is original wood windows. If the home you're considering has original windows, there will likely be several comments on the inspection report about these. If they haven't been properly maintained, and often they haven't been, there may be windows that have been painted shut or don't open, have broken or frayed ropes, have missing or cracked panes of glass, or have glass panes that need to be reglazed. The good news, these items can all be repaired, and typically for a cost that is much less than that of a new window. Wood windows get a bad rap, and when people think of them, they often picture windows that are broken down, won't open, and are drafty. And homeowners who don't know any better may think that they can't be repaired and throw them away. But wood windows can be restored and weatherproofed to look as good as new and be made more energy efficient. So now I've told you about 3 things commonly found on vintage home inspection reports that you shouldn't lose any sleep over. Check out my next video where I talk about the 3 key areas you need to pay attention to on vintage home walkthroughs and inspection reports to avoid costly repairs down the road. If you're thinking of buying or selling a vintage home in St. Paul or Minneapolis, I would love to talk with you. I'm an old home certified real estate agent. I've owned a vintage home since 2008, and I would love to help you find your vintage home. So please don't hesitate to reach out. I'd love to chat.